Welcome to HortTube, where we talk all things gardening. My name is Jim Putnam, and this is a Viburnum Tinus. This is Viburnum Tinus, a beautiful, shiny, evergreen foliage shrub with beautiful white flowers in the very early spring. Viburnum Tinus can reach 6 to 8 feet in height and probably 4 to 5 feet in width, but it's very easy to keep this shrub in probably the 4 to 5 foot height range and about equal width. It's hardy in horticultural zones 7 to 10, but in zone 7A, this plant cannot be planted out in open space. It will definitely get burned in the late winter and early spring. Once your Viburnum Tinus has established itself after the first year or two, these can actually put on about a foot of growth in a single season. In zone 7 or 8, you can put Viburnum Tinus in a half a day sun all the way to full sun. As you get down to zone 9 and 10, I think this plant does need a little bit of shade at some point during the day, no more than a half a day direct sun. Like I said, these will grow in zone 7 to 10. In zones 9 and 10, this plant can be planted pretty much anywhere you'd want to plant it. It could actually be used as a screening plant, really, or on the corner of a foundation. In zone 7 and probably 8, because it's very susceptible to some winter burn and some winter kill in 7A if it was out in open space, this plant really needs to be on a foundation. It needs to be on a wall that doesn't have any windows, or maybe as the corner piece on your front foundation. It would be very nice in that kind of application. The main features of Viburnum Tinus are, number one, it's evergreen, and it has a very, very nice foliage on it, a very nice dark, rich green, shiny foliage. It gets these incredible clusters of white flowers in the very early spring, and they actually started as pink clusters. They looked like they were going to be pink flowers, and then they open white. That's quite nice. And then it has really, really nice new lighter green foliage, and that's a really nice two-tone color right there. One of the things, though, that I want you to see on this is this plant just gets ahead of itself every spring. It'll start growing far too early most years, and it's kind of vulnerable to late frost. And I typically will get some damage on these virtually every year in zone 7 in the late winter. The flowers will become kind of a bluish black berry in the fall and are typically persistent through most of the winter. I've included videos in the description of this video for planting woody shrubs. Viburnum Tinus is actually a pretty tough plant. I don't think you'll have many issues with it as long as you don't bury it too deep and over mulch it. You should be fine. Viburnum Tinus is going to be reasonably drought tolerant once it's established. The first year you'll want to drown it occasionally if it needs it. You can stick your finger down in the ground a couple inches and see if it needs water, and if it does, like I say, drown it. Once this thing's established, I don't think you'll have to do a lot of ongoing watering on it unless it becomes abnormally dry. If you're in an area that gets normal rainfall, that would be true. This plant will wilt and let you know that it's dry probably if it becomes abnormally dry. It's not too bad about losing a lot of foliage like some other things will. And when you see that, or when you know you're in drought conditions, drag a water hose to it and just turn it on a trickle and let it run until the ground kind of rejects water, and then leave it alone. Let it dry out again over a long period of time. Definitely one of the things I want you to get out of this video is this plant starts growing too early every year. Don't fertilize this plant in the late winter or very, very early spring. It will respond to that fertilizer and definitely race out ahead. Wait until after it's finished blooming completely and you've kind of passed your frost-free date, and then definitely fertilize it. It's got great new foliage on it throughout the season, and you'll get a lot more of that. You'll probably flower heavy the next season as well by fertilizing it. Any slow release outdoor fertilizer would be fine. The best time to prune Viburnum Tinus is going to be right after they finish flowering, and you can go after this plant pretty hard as long as it's past the worst of the winter. You can probably take a third out of the top of this thing with no problem, and it will give you lots of new growth from the lower branches and from the sides and make it quite a bit fuller. We don't get a lot of chewing pest on Viburnum Tinus. I'll occasionally get some white flies on these, but we typically pack them into the nursery so tight that I think that's more the issue. If they have any air movement around them, typically that won't be a problem. They are considered deer resistant, so usually that won't be an issue. But this is definitely a plant that needs well-drained soil. You could definitely overwater and love this plant to death. So what are you waiting for? Even you can grow the beautiful, evergreen, white flowering Viburnum Tinus. Thank you for watching my video, and if it was helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos. Also, comment below with any questions you have about viburnums. Thanks again.